Now we come to the installation of your system. You're going to be inviting a person into your home to install this thing. Let's call him Eddie. Eddie will either be an expert or a piece worker. Remember, there's no such thing as paying a little and getting a lot. Mass marketing companies often use subcontractors to install their systems. Why? It's cheaper. They don't have to pay for unemployment insurance, workman's compensation insurance, medical, vacation, or retirement. That saves a lot of money. All they have to pay Eddie is a flat fee for installing the system, and they're done. And how much do they pay him? $75 a system. How do I know that? We get calls from their installers. Hi, ABC Company doesn't have anything for me to do today. Have you got a system for me to install? Well, after we explain that we don't use subcontractors to install our systems, the person on the other end usually starts complaining about how ABC Company only pays them $75 a system. Let's think about that for a minute. Eddie's got to have a truck. That's about $25,000 to $30,000. He's got to fill the tank with gas, which for a cargo van can be $50 or more. He's got to buy his tools and cover all his other expenses. Now, if Eddie's living anywhere close to this area, he's got to be installing 2 or 3 systems a day and probably working weekends too. What does that mean to you? If Eddie shows up at 8 in the morning to install your system, first thing he's going to do is look at his watch and think, let's see, I got to be in Silver Spring by 11 for the next job, so I got to be out of here by 10 or 10:30. Now, if you think you're going to get a careful, thoughtful, professional installation of your new security system, you're about to be disappointed. Eddie's in a race to get your system in. He'll take every shortcut and cut every corner he can think of. I currently service hundreds of clients who were formerly customers of mass marketing companies. As a consequence, I've personally inspected over 100 of these installations. From what I've seen, I could write a textbook of all the mistakes that can be made when installing a security system in a hurry. Let me give you a few examples to make the point. A few years ago, Alice, a widow who lives by herself in Bethesda, called me to come and look at her security system. I found she had a wireless system that had been installed by a mass marketing company 6 years previously. I tested all 24 of her wireless sensors, and of the 24, I found 9 that were functioning perfectly, but had never been programmed into the brain or CPU of that system from day one. This lady had paid them a lot of money for this system, and every night for the last 6 years when she went to bed, she felt confident those 9 doors and windows were protected. She'd paid for it, but they never were. How could this happen? 2 reasons. First, the installer was obviously in so much of a hurry they overlooked programming those sensors in. Second, by not doing a thorough check of her whole system before they left, they demonstrated a total lack of professionalism. I programmed those sensors into her system, and she finally started enjoying the protection she should have had for the first 6 years. This next example makes another good point. I have a friend, Charlie, in Woodbridge, who called me up a few years ago and said, Lenny, I bought this house. It already has a security system. I don't need one. But I'd like you to take care of it for me and monitor it because I know you. I said, Charlie, let me come over and see what you got. When I got to his house, I saw the sign in the front yard for ADT. They'd installed an all-in-one system. There it was, this huge keypad mounted on the wall in the kitchen right next to the wall phone. Why would they put it there? Well, every security system needs to make phone calls. Behind that wall phone is a phone jack with a wire and a dial tone. All they did was connect their wire to the phone jack, and they had a dial tone for their system. Now, is that a cheap and fast way to do it? No argument here. It's also the wrong way to do it. Why? His security system is connected into his phone line just like any other extension phone in his house. That means if his wife is upstairs in the bedroom at 2 in the morning talking to her sister in California, and somebody kicks in her basement door, her system's paralyzed. It can't make a phone call. Not till she hangs up. The right way to do it is to connect a separate wire from the security panel directly to the telephone company box where the dial tone comes into your house. Now, if there's an alarm, your security system has what's called line seizure or line priority. In other words, in an emergency, it'll disconnect your house from the phone company and dial directly out to the monitoring station. If you're on a call or the internet, that doesn't stop it. Does it take a little longer to install a system that way? Let me tell you something. That one aspect of your installation could take an hour, or it could take 3 or 4 hours. Does it cost a little more to have it done that way? Of course it does. But when it's done right. How many subcontractors being paid $75 for the entire installation are going to spend 2 or 3 hours just to run the phone line? They can't. There isn't enough time in the day for them to do that for every installation and still do 2 or 3 installations a day. Oh yes, I also had to replace Charlie's main panel because it was proprietary. You see, unfortunately, there's no law saying you have to do all these things the right way. Unless you've had formal training in the installation and programming of this equipment, you are absolutely unqualified to go behind a technician and check their work to be sure your installation was done correctly. In the programming phase alone, there can be literally hundreds of fields that have to be properly set. Question number 10. Is every system you install wired directly to the phone company box and have phone line seizure?